Good afternoon, guys. No, it's not the afternoon. Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where we're back with another live stream. And this time, we've got a team news reaction in the morning, which is a little bit weird, but Manchester United are the early kickoff this weekend, and team news has just dropped, with the 11 that I currently have on screen being the Manchester United 11. I am just waiting for confirmation from Everton. I haven't seen their team just yet. But the Manchester United team news is quite interesting. Andre Onana in goal, a back three of De Ligt, Harry Maguire and Mazraoui. We're assuming then an Ugarte and Casemiro double pivot, with Dorgu and Dalot as the wing-backs, and then we've got Xerxes, Bruno Fernandes and Rasmus Højlund. That is the starting 11 for today. We of course kind of predicted our 11s yesterday, and I believe in the end we were only one player off. I think we were only one player off with our final predictions yesterday, which, in my opinion, is pretty darn decent. But what do you guys make of this team news? And just generally speaking, how are you feeling about this match? Yesterday, there was a little bit of uncertainty. Of course, now we have the 11. We know what's going on. What do we make of it? And could someone tell me, is this the first time we've seen Casemiro and Ugarte together in midfield? Is it the first time? I can't recall another time that we have seen it. Perhaps I'm wrong. Now, what's also interesting is something that we spoke about yesterday. We were talking about how Manchester United could go for this sort of 3-4-3, but it was somewhat likely that Casemiro was going to feature, and we know that he lacks a little bit of energy and things like that. So we did actually discuss the potential of sometimes playing in more of a 3-5-2, and this starting 11 does actually allow us to do that. Bruno Fernandes could start high in the 3-4-3, but he could actually easily rotate into that position and it could change, which is something that we spoke about yesterday, so it's kind of cool if we do then see that today. What's the sort of feeling in the chat? What's everyone's thoughts on this? Come on United and then 2-0 Everton. Sounds about right. We are gone. Nice. I knew Garnacho would get dropped. That's probably the first thing that jumps out at me, to be honest, when we look at this team news. It's that we've got Casemiro and Ugarte, which we haven't seen often, although I believe once under Van Nistelrooy, did someone just say? But actually, the other thing for me, which I'm not a massive fan of personally, but we don't have too many options right now, there's not a single winger in the starting 11. Not a single one. Obviously, we're harmed by the fact that Rashford's out on loan, Anthony's out on loan, Jadon Sancho's out on loan, Ahmad's out till the end of the season. So we are pretty much only left with Garnacho, which isn't ideal. So it's a bit of a problem. It sort of sums up where we are at with the squad at the moment. Let me just quickly check the Everton team news as well while we're at it. Pickford in goal. We've got O'Brien, Tarkowski, Branthwaite, Mikalenko. It is Idrissa Gueye and Garner in midfield. Doucouré, Lindstrom, Harrison and Beto. I always seem to predict the starting 11s for the opposition much better than I do Manchester United. Is that because other teams are more consistent? Is that because they have less injuries, so it's easier to pick their team? I don't know, but we always seem to do that a little bit better. Who we got in the chat, by the way? We've got David, we've got Chad, we've got Matt, we've got Steve, we've got Sam, we've got Humphrey, we've got loads of people. We've got Zhao, we've got Sir Hawk. Good morning to you all. Hope you guys are very good. How do we feel about this? How do we feel? I think Dorgu will be our winger profile. Yeah, I think realistically he is the closest thing to that on paper in this 11. Obviously, we did speak yesterday about the fact that we could swap these two round, and that is something that we are going to need to figure out in this stream today, what way around certain players are playing. Because we have seen matches this season where Mazraoui has played on the left and De Ligt on the right, so it could be that, but it could also be this way around. Casemiro and Ugarte, what way around are they going to play? Not sure. Dorgu and Dalot, what way do they play? And also, Xerxes, Bruno, and also kind of Højlund as well, because we have briefly seen a cameo of him in the right forward spot. So whilst we do have the 11, I still don't think it's actually crystal clear as to who is playing where. Now, just something that came to my head, and if this is absolute miles off it, do let me know. There was a lot of talk last season about how Casemiro, obviously, once upon a time, was one of the best ball-winning midfielders on the planet, right? He's an absolute destroyer in the middle of the park, but he sort of lost that a little bit. And his best impact was actually a little bit further up the pitch. Is there any chance of Casemiro being higher? Because we do know that we have seen regularly an Ugarte and Bruno Fernandes pivot. Is there any chance of that, or absolutely not? I mean, looking at that as a front three is quite interesting. I mean, it's physical, I guess. Am I just completely waffling there? What do you reckon? What do you reckon? AJ, what is the bench like today? I heard Sekou Kone would be involved in the squad. Let me just have a quick check for you. I believe I did see Sekou Kone on there. Let me just quickly grab that for you guys, though. 1 second. Just wait for some technical difficulties here. So, to be honest, in terms of attacking players, we've got Chido Obi, we've got Garnacho, we've got Sekou Kone, Christian Eriksen. They're sort of the game changers from the bench. Then we've got Lenny Yoro, Lindelof, Heaven Harrison, and Hubert, how do you say that surname? Gracic? Not a player I'm familiar with. Again, if we're looking at the bench, it lacks experience. Of course it does. I think we were always anticipating that would be the case. It's good that we've got Lenny Yoro in there. It's good that we've got Eriksen. Yeah, the difference maker realistically is Garnacho or one of the young players. It'd be interesting to see if we do see any of them. I said this last week, I'd actually like to see a 10-minute cameo from one of them. A lot of people are of the idea of avoid pressure. I actually don't think there's that much pressure on the football pitch right now. Not from the fans so much. More the pressure seems to be on the manager and Ineos and everything. Actually, the players seem to be getting away with one a little bit. So I actually don't mind the idea of putting a player in, although maybe Goodison Park isn't the best place to do it. Let me know what you think. Do you think we can see any of those young players for 10-15 minutes? Just a few more minutes than what we saw last weekend? I'm not sure. Actually, a great point. We need to score goals, and Casemiro does provide that. He's proven it. Maybe, we could just get him out of the way playing up there. I mean, the real question mark would be, can he do any sort of back-to-goal retention work and any tight space work? Probably not. So it probably doesn't happen. But it's just something I thought that I would mention. Probably not. What is interesting, though, is I would say that physically, whilst we don't necessarily still have the most stamina here, this is a decently sized team. Maguire is a big lad. De Ligt, big lad. Dorgu, big and strong. Casemiro, big and strong. Ugarte, quite strong. Dalot, good physical profile, particularly for a fullback or a wingback. Højlund, Xerxes, these are big players. This got to be up there. I'd like to know the average height. This could be up there for the tallest United team that we've seen in quite a while. This feels to me like quite a physical team. And ultimately, you need that at Goodison Park, particularly in their last season at Goodison Park. It's not a nice place to go. Their team is stacked with physical monsters. That might be some of Ruben Amorim's team selection choices. That might be why he's gone for some of these players. Or maybe his hand has just been forced because of the injuries. We don't really know. I want to see Kone. We might see Obi as well. Yeah, I think Sekou Kone have a chance. I don't think we would throw him in deep into midfield in this game. Perhaps, again, we might almost use the inside forward role as a position where we can ease certain youth players into the team, rather than throwing them straight into like the heart of it. We could put them a little bit higher, particularly late on. Not sure. AJ loves a big lad, and AJ pitching a tent seeing this squad. I'm just saying it looks a bit more physical. I'm still worried about the ground coverage, I'll be honest, but hey, who doesn't like some big players? Slowest team ever, though? Yeah, that's why with the term physical, you've got to be careful, because for me, I see physical as not just your muscular strength and your power, but also how quick you are, how much you cover ground. It's a physically strong team, robust team, ground coverage-wise and things like that, still lacking a little bit. Although we do have two real athletes on the wing-back positions, Dorgu and Dalot. I think they'll be flying up and down there all day long. All day long. I think Chido on for Højlund might be the last nail in Højlund's confidence. Yeah, probably. It depends on the game state at the time, right? If you're 2-0 up and you bring him off, it's probably alright. If you're chasing a goal and you bring Højlund off for such a young player, it probably is a little bit of a kick in the teeth. I don't know why I'm scared of this match. Joshua, mate, I'll tell you why you're scared of this match, because you're a Manchester United fan. We should be scared of every match. That's why. Casemiro and Ugarte's pairing was the best thing in Van Nistelrooy's interim change. I think Ugarte is the legs with him, right? We know that Casemiro can't cover the ground like he once would. Ugarte gives us that bit of energy around him. I do think in this pivot, we do get some nice progressive passing from Casemiro. I think he's a good progressive passer, as long as he can get into a position where he's facing things. Back to goal again, I have question marks, but when it slows down, he can actually get his head up and pick a pass. I think Casemiro is quite useful for us there, as long as he's not trying it too much. I think a lot of people will also be happy to see Bruno Fernandes higher up. You know, Bruno is this constant changing player in the fan base's eyes where, you know, he'll play a spell as an inside forward, play really well, but then we drop him into midfield and it's like, oh my God, he's amazing here. We should always play him in midfield. Then he'll have one half bad game. We'll move him back to inside forward and everyone's like, I knew he should have been inside forward all the time. That's what happens with Bruno Fernandes. We go in an endless cycle of that. Actually, he performs very well pretty much anywhere he plays. I do like the extra creativity he brings, though. Compared to Garnacho in this position, he does give us more. I do think the lack of Garnacho puts a bit more onto Dorgu, because previously we saw Garnacho and Dorgu sort of interchanging, so let's just take Bruno out for a moment. Dorgu didn't have to play as sort of like a winger. He wasn't always our wide threat because there were moments where he could come in and Garnacho would go around on the overlap and they could interchange. Bruno Fernandes will try to do that from the left-hand side, if that's where he plays. He will try to do that. He will try to get wide, but he's not a 1v1 threat there. So I do think Dorgu will be required to do a lot of work going out wide. And also, to be fair, probably the same for Dalot. Because, again, Xerxes, he's happy to rotate. He does like to get near players and sort of interchange quick linking moments. But again, he's not really a player who's going to peel out wide, pick the ball up and go at a fullback. So I'm a little bit concerned that what Everton might do is sort of narrow off in their approach. Go nice and compact, and you're trying to like restrict the balls into Bruno and into Xerxes. I do have this fear that they might sort of let us go wide, and then once we get into these positions, they're just going to come out and stop us. Again, because we don't have wingers there. Not sure. Only guy who can retain possession is Xerxes. I think Ugarte is a good retention point in the side as well. He has moments of loose touches, but generally speaking, I think he's quite a safe player on the ball. I think he keeps the ball well for United. Outside of that, I do see what you're saying. There's a lack of tight space work from that four in there. We've seen certain weeks where we've had, likes of Kobe Mainu in there or a Mason Mount in there who give us a little bit more. We're probably lacking something a little bit, but that's the Manchester United squad. We can't be too picky because we haven't got too much to pick from, right? This is really all we've got. What app is this? It is Tacticalista. Can you see it? Is it in shot bottom right? Oh no, I've cut it off. Tactical, so the word tactical and then ISTA. Just search it on Google and it will come up. It's really good. Not a sponsor or anything. It's just what I use for these. It's pretty darn cool. I like using it a lot. We have to go through Dorgu if that's what they're going to do. Well, we saw that last week. I don't know if you guys saw the stat that I put in midweek, but Dorgu last weekend, he's played one Premier League game for us. He is now our 12th highest crosser in the Premier League. I think if he carries on at the same rate of crossing, which isn't guaranteed, but if he does, it will take him 7 games to catch Dalot's crosses in the Premier League this season, which is quite interesting. Having that left footer makes it a little bit easier, a little bit quicker. When we've got Dalot over here and he gets into this position, he's got that bit of space, but if he's playing on his left, he has to sort of overthink it, overprocess it because it's not natural, or he has to sort of cut back onto his right, by which time the defence can settle a bit more. Dorgu does give us that sort of instant cross into the box. And again, I said this last week, in terms of if we're trying to simplify the sport a little bit, make things a little more basic, left footer on the left who can cross early, right footer on the right who can cross early, 2 strikers in the middle, not Bruno, 2 strikers in the middle that are over 6 foot tall, it does kind of make sense, right? It does make sense. I can see us in the classic horseshoe versus their hockey puck, and they'll go for us on the break. Yeah, that's the only thing I would say I'm a little bit uncertain about coming into the game, is how much pressure Everton are going to try and apply high up the pitch. I don't know if they're really going to come after us and high press from minute 1 and really put us on the back foot, or if, like you said, they might sort of sit in the middle here and, the ball goes wide to Dalot. That's when they go a little bit higher, force us backwards, and then they'll stay in their shape, and then we go around the other way, we go to Dorgu. That's when they'll be a bit more aggressive, force us backwards. I can see that happening. Again, there's pressure on the wing backs, but also on the inside forwards. Can they be the guys to drop into these positions and make something happen? They'll do a mid-block. I can certainly see it. I can certainly see the mid-block happening. I would not be at all surprised if that happens because, it makes sense for Everton to be compact because they know that realistically we're not great at breaking teams down. In terms of how Everton approach this game, whether it's deep or high, it will be a 4-4-2 most of the time. In theory, on paper, it's a 4-2-3-1, like this. That's how it looks. But Decore will often actually come a little bit higher with Beto into the front two. And it goes to more of that flat 4-4-2. Now, we know this shape is difficult to break down. This is where we may see something different from United, though. Is there a chance at getting that diamond shape in the middle of the park? Something that we talk about all the time when you face a 4-4-2 is it's really difficult to play through because they've got that bank of 4 across the middle. There's not too many gaps inside the 4. If we go across here, there's not a lot of space there. It's difficult to play within that. But I do always think if the spacing isn't right, you can play in front of it, but also behind it. So this 4 across there may be good and may be solid, but I always think there's a little space in there, which is why once upon a time 4-3-3s were so used with the solo pivot to play in that space. But also that 10 spot there. And I do wonder, is there a rotation where Xerxes gets himself into that 10 spot like we saw last weekend, with Højlund sort of pinning and distracting the centre-backs? And also, there's definitely some rotation that can work here to make the diamond. How does it work? Not entirely sure. Would you have Casemiro as your pivot, with Bruno and Ugarte more box-to-box? Or would you have Ugarte sort of screening in front of the back line, giving Casemiro a bit more to get forward? Not too sure. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that. How would you arrange that? If we do shift to the diamond in moments, Casemiro or Ugarte is more of that holder. Normally, or perhaps in the past, we may have said it'll be quite rotational, a lot of movement in there. But that probably won't be the case under Amorim. It probably would be one of them being more fixed. So it'd be interesting to see who that would actually be. Let me know what you think. Do you think Ruben Amorim is trying his best to mould Garnacho? Second time he's dropped him from the starting 11. What we've also got to remember is we don't know what's happened in training. And I don't mean Garnacho's trained poorly. I'm not saying that. But in the last, I think it's 13 days, we've played one football match, which means we have had a lot of time on the training pitch. And we haven't had that all season. But certainly not under Ruben Amorim, we haven't had that. We haven't had training time. There's a chance, in those 13 days, only having one match, having lots of training, there's a chance we've seen something. That there's a certain shape, a certain pattern that works. Does this front three work particularly well? Which means, unfortunately for Garnacho for now, he's just going to have to hold the bench. Or is this a tactical idea specifically for this game? You know, if we do want to move to that diamond shape as much as possible, Garnacho doesn't really have a natural position in that diamond. So he could be dropped. It could be tactical rotation. It could be a different tactical idea, something we've discovered. Difficult to say. Is he trying to mould him? Almost definitely. Almost definitely. He's probably trying to mould all these players into what he wants them to be. So, do I think he's trying to mould him? Yes. Do I think it's big that he's been dropped as such? No, because we also know Garnacho has a good impact from the bench. Realistically, you will almost definitely see him at some point during the game, so I don't think there's too much in it. I think Garnacho's miss at Spurs is the reason he's benched. It could be that. It's possible. He has missed a lot of big chances recently. I think managers will probably look at it slightly differently, though, and go, yes, he's missed a lot of chances, but he's getting into great positions. I think football managers look at it probably differently to fans. We'll look at it and go, oh, he's missed that chance, that chance, it's not good enough. A manager will go, he's been in the right position 3 times in a row there, that's perfect. He just needs that final touch. So I don't think a miss would be the reason he's dropped, but that's just me. I might be miles off it, I'm not sure. You're happy with the pivot, but I would play Eriksen over Rasmus and let Rasmus come off the bench. Unless you go for more of a 3-4-1-2, much better to cover the space and have structure. Again, I do think this shape, or this lineup, I should say, does give us potential to experiment with different shapes. It could be a flat 3-5-2 like this. We could see some sort of stagger, like you've said there, sort of the 3-4-1-2. The starting 11 in that sense almost doesn't give too much away. What I'm hoping is that, I'm not suggesting Amorim rips it up and starts again and finds a new approach. I'm hoping he's got a little surprise up his sleeve with his starting 11, because we've seen a lot of talk about United being a bit predictable. I've spoken about it a lot. I think the system is quite obvious what we're trying to do in moments, and it's easy to sort of guide us into certain parts of the pitch and then turn the ball over. We've also seen several players from other teams go, and we knew what United were going to do, so it's quite easy to play against. I'm hoping, having had that extra training time, maybe we're a bit less predictable. Maybe there's a bit more rotation in the final third, or it's a slightly different shape with someone dropping, someone moving. Like we said, it could be that sort of diamond shape as well. There's different things it could be. Personally, I'm hoping for a slightly more fluid performance with the movement, providing we can get there in the first place. And that is obviously easier said than done. The system is washed. Fair enough. Garnacho is an impact sub? Yeah, I think we all know Garnacho's threat is an impact sub, right? Particularly against O'Brien, who's not the most mobile defender in the world. If he's then a little bit tired, a little bit fatigued as well, with a fresh Garnacho coming on, it's probably a good idea, to be fair. Probably a good idea. So happy to see Chido Obi and Sekou Kone still on the bench. Hopefully they will be used this time. Who else did I say we got on the bench? We've got Eriksen, so he could come on ahead of them. We've got Garnacho. Where have I put Garnacho? Can you guys see Garnacho anywhere? There he is. Completely lost him. So he could come on ahead of them. Yoro as well. Apart from that, they've probably got a chance of getting on. They've probably got a chance. Maybe if you want Sekou Kone's mobility over Christian Eriksen's, for example. Again, it depends on the game state, right? Are we 3-0 up? If so, sure, let's make a change. Are we 1-0 down? The change is probably a little bit different. So I think that is important when it comes to the subs. How many shots on goal do we reckon for Højlund? I did actually like that last weekend, that we actually had a few more shots from him. He didn't really ever look like he was going to score, in my opinion. But I did like to see that he was giving us shots on target. He was a bit more of a goal threat. He was a bit closer to goal, getting those shots off. I think it's a good thing for us. We need that, right? We need that. The Amorim system is conservative. I don't see Garnacho being an element in the future. I don't know. I think we'll see a lot of change moving forward. I think in 18 months' time, I don't think we will see us in this sort of same rigid approach. Not to the same extent. I think in 18 months, it will be quite a different picture, personally. I already miss Rashford. Me too, mate. Me too. I missed him before he left. By the way, I just realised, David, you gifted a membership earlier, and I don't know if I actually ever read it out. I don't know if I ever read that out. I'm just a horrible person. I'm a horrible person. David, I don't know if I read this out or not. If I didn't, thank you very much for the gifted membership. I apologise for the fact that it's taken me so long to read it out. Did I read it? I'm not sure. David, anyway, regardless, thank you very much for the gifted membership earlier. Guys, it's a little bit late, but if you could put some love hearts in the chat to say thank you to David, that'd be amazing. You guys, I've just looked up in chat. You guys even put the hearts at the time. That is fully my bad. David, apologies. But as always, thank you very much for gifting it. Yeah, David, I'm sorry, mate. How come Garnacho gets to scoring positions more than Højlund? He's obviously starting in a different position for a start, right? Højlund is very much occupying centre-backs. When you're a striker, the centre-backs know where you are, they're picking you up. Quite simple. Whereas when you're a left winger or an inside forward, you arrive into the space a little bit more. You arrive there rather than starting there. So the centre-backs aren't already picking you up, you're sort of moving on to them. Yeah, David, I'm so sorry, mate. I'm so sorry. That's criminal behaviour from me. Honestly, I should be banned. I should be banned. Danny B, good morning, my friend. How are you? How are you? How's things, AJ? Honestly, not bad. Not bad at all. I'm a little bit tired today, actually. But apart from that, I feel like I always say that, actually. I'm pretty good, thank you. I'm pretty good. I would like United to be a bit more interesting, a bit more entertaining. I'd like to be a bit more connected to the team, but who knows if that is going to happen. I don't think the system is conservative. It's just our players. Look at the system at Sporting. It was so open and attacking. Yeah, exactly that. Not specifically the players, I don't think, but the players' understanding of the system, at times, the profiles we've got, things like that. It's going to take time, right? It's going to take time. Chad has just pointed out, by the way, guys, and Chad's one of my mods, and he's an absolute legend. He's just pointed out the fact that we've got 400 viewers and only 53 likes. First of all, 400 viewers, amazing. Thank you so much for joining. 53 likes. I mean, Chad has used the word pathetic. I'm not going to go quite that far. Maybe I will. Please leave a like on the stream. Please. We've also got a new channel member, a new channel goat. Is that Sino? Sino, is that what I say name? Sino7. Thank you very much. Apologies if I have butchered the pronunciation there. But welcome to the channel membership. I hope you enjoy it. If you go into the chat, my friend, and open up your emojis, you got a load of custom emojis now that you can use on the channel. You've got a load of the players. So specifically when we come to score predictions and things like that, you can use the player to try and predict. And yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Thank you very much for becoming a member. And guys, you know what to do. Be like David. Turn that chat green. David, I still can't believe I missed your membership, man. I'm a horrible person. Horrible. What if Dalot played right... What? Let me try that again. Right, wide, centre-back. His recovery pace could be helpful in a high line, though. I got the pronunciation right. Let's go, we love that. I'm normally terrible. Could Dalot play there? Yeah, he absolutely could. Like you said, in quite a slow backline, a backline lacking mobility, Dalot would give us something. He gives us recovery pace. Again, he's physically quite strong, technical quality on the ball progressing capabilities. But I don't know about you guys, I've said this a few times. Dalot has received a lot of criticism under Amorim, you know, being a wing-back. People have criticised him heavily, really. I still think he's a better wing-back than what Mazraoui is, personally. Mazraoui as a full-back, I love him. Such a fan of this guy. I think he's an amazing footballer. But actually, as a wing-back, I don't think he's amazing. Dalot's not amazing either, but I do think he is still, for me, the better wing-back. He's just got that extra bit of drive, that extra bit of power. You know, the physical traits probably sort of give him that edge. Yes, Glenn, that'll do. Look at those green hearts. Beautiful, mate. Only way that Xerxes works out is if he keeps playing as the 10. Having him would be good for depth in striker position. yeah, if Xerxes can come good at United, he's an amazing squad player to have. Like you said, he can play up front, he can play as the inside forwards. Technically a very good player, keeps the ball well. He's the sort of player we want at the club, really. I think defensively we need to see more intensity from him, and the same from Højlund as well. That was one of my frustrations last week, that these two weren't intense enough on the Spurs centre-backs. Need to fix that up. But apart from that, I think Xerxes played well last week, and he did offer us something different. He's probably, aside from Kobbie Mainoo and maybe Mason Mount as well, the most suited to playing inside forward in terms of ball receptions. You know, we know this is a difficult position to receive the ball in, because a lot of the time you are going to be in these boxes here, where there's several players around you, and on your first touch, any of them could come after you. It could be one of a few players. Xerxes is one of the few who can actually take a really good first touch there. And it's not just always a first touch backwards. Last weekend, he was really trying to work himself back inside of the pitch, which is something I've spoken about so much. We have a lot of difficulty through the middle. It's compact. We don't really have the central midfielders that progress the ball well. So most of the time we do get forced wide. And I think, to be fair, Amorim does put an emphasis on that. But Xerxes does give us that way back infield. Even though he's right-footed playing on his side, which we wouldn't normally talk about so much, he does give us that way back in just because of how good he is as a footballer. Technically, we haven't seen the best of him at Manchester United. Believe me when I say this, he is up there with the most technically gifted forwards on the planet. He's just not adapted to the pace of the league yet. Hopefully he's starting to get there. Amorim was talking about it last week. He looks a little bit lighter, a little bit quicker, a little bit sharper. Good. Keep doing that. He might offer us something different in this game. He might. If you remember, actually, the last Everton game, it was Xerxes up front in that game, which is interesting. If you remember, Amorim made the decision. He didn't want Højlund in the starting 11 because of the physicality of the Everton centre-backs. I've only just remembered this. So he went for Xerxes to drop away from the centre-backs. Xerxes definitely going to get that licence in this game with Højlund pinning them. That's something to look out for. Lots of X Factor with Xerxes? Yeah, exactly. 100 likes, come on people, please. We're on 100 likes, or we're targeting 100 likes? We definitely need to hit 100 likes. Like, quite comfortably, we should do that. So, guys, actually, leave a like, guys. We'll carry on once you've hit the like button. Okay, I can't make me wait too long. That weren't English. Let's try again. Højlund needs to be loaned out this summer. Bring a finished product for the striker position. Still have Chidobe or Xerxes for depth. I'm really not sure. I don't know how we approach the striker situation this summer. I said it the other day that, in my opinion, we will need a striker this summer again, which is frustrating. I don't know how you manage what we've already got. Let's say Xerxes actually becomes more of an inside forward, then we arguably don't need to sell either of them or loan either of them. Sign a striker. Højlund's his understudy. Lovely. Xerxes is an inside forward who can also play there. There's a chance when it comes to it we'll have to sell one of them. I don't really know. 100 likes for the pre-game therapy session? Exactly, mate. Exactly. Tenpenny, good morning, my friend. How are you? Do you watch other sports, say boxing? I don't know a lot about boxing. I watch the big fights, but I'm a casual when it comes to boxing. I like a bit of Formula 1. Do you like watching that? Is that sport? It's a motor sport. Does it count? I'm not sure. I like a bit of tennis. I don't watch it enough, but I do like a bit of tennis. But I don't like any other sport I watch. Is very casual with how I watch it. I don't really watch anything else in depth, apart from football. Can't loan out Højlund. I believe he should be the second choice to a more experienced striker. Yeah, that's definitely an option. And I think that's probably what I would lean towards in the summer. What happened to Mount under Amorim? No idea, mate. No idea. Where's he gone? I don't know. Guys, it takes time to play a 3-2-5 for 70 minutes. It wasn't in 3 months, guys. It's a process. It took 2-3 years. The truth is that everyone knew how Sporting played, but nobody stopped us. Ooh, Ricardo, are you a Sporting fan? I would love to hear some more from you, mate, on just your opinion. You said there, be more patient, give him more time. It took 2 or 3 years for Amorim to get it going at Sporting. I'd love to hear some more of your thoughts on how you think he's doing at United, but also what you think of how United fans are reacting to him. And not just United fans, but English media. I'd love to hear a little bit more, mate. Please, can you read all the tactical comments? I try and read out as many chats as I can. You must be able to see in the chat, this is moving pretty darn fast. I try and read out as much as possible, but I can't get everything. I try, but I can't get everything. I'm not keen on De Ligt on the left. He looks awkward on the ball. Recovery pace is key in a high line, which is why I'd go with Dalot. Are you saying Dalot on the left or Dalot on the right? Would you have Yoro in the team as well then for that extra bit of pace, extra bit of recovery? It makes sense. I do agree De Ligt looks a little bit awkward on the ball on the left. The thing is, probably most of our players do. Personally, I think in the long term, Yoro can play there, but he's obviously far from the ready-made player currently. Realistically, the back three just isn't ideal. Again, we're at that sort of moment now with the United squad where we don't have a lot of luxury over, I want this profile of player. You know, I want the left footer who's agile on the ball, or I want the midfielder who's a really high passing volume, a lot of passes in the middle of the park, or I want that inside forward who can receive on the back foot, things like that. We are really restricted. It'll be different in the summer, hopefully, right? Then we can sort of paint the picture more of our ideal, if you like. But right now, it is tough. It is tough. Personally, yeah, I would probably go for Yoro, because I just prefer him as a centre-back, his profile. Having said that, we saw this week Rafael Varane talking about the fact that the United, the youngsters are signed and they're forced into the team too early, too much pressure put on them too quickly. Yoro may stylistically be ideal for this game, but actually if we're trying to manage a player, we're trying to manage not just a player but a human, and a young human, maybe it's better to protect him a little bit. He might help us win this game, but actually is it a pressure that he doesn't need right now? Because ultimately this 3 points here isn't more important than Lenny Yoro's career and what he could be at Manchester United. So perhaps that's some of it as well. United have always had an elite striker historically. We could afford to have average players everywhere else, like Rafael Anderson, etc., but elite, mature strikers. Ultimately, football is won in the boxes, right? You win a football match with how you defend over here and how the opposition attack, and how you attack over here and how the opposition defend. You can do a lot of work in here to make it easier, to get you to the box more regularly and take pressure off, whatever, all of that stuff. But ultimately, you win it and lose it in these positions. And particularly this end, we don't have the quality at the moment just to give us wins out of nowhere. We saw the chart during the week, right? More XG missed than any team in the Premier League. That shouldn't really be happening with Manchester United. And it's not even that we've created like an insanely high amount of XG. Falling below it still gives us a lot of goals. I think our XG is still like 12th in the league. So we're getting a very average amount of chances, but missing most of them. That's the problem. That's the real problem. So we need to do more here to create more chances, but also when we do get them here, we've got to take them. And that isn't just Højlund. Bruno Fernandes has to do more. He's got to chip in with more. Garnacho, when he plays, he's barely scored in the last 20 matches. Need more from him. Xerxes, we need goals. Can one of the midfielders pop up with goals? Even defenders on set pieces. You look at Arsenal, for example, how many of their goals come from set pieces? It's not all about Havertz up front scoring 100 a season. Spread the goals across the team. So this isn't just a Højlund thing. It's about the others as well for me. Every time you try to pass the ball to Højlund, you find him on the ground. Yeah. True, Liverpool have an elite back four and an elite forward line. Their midfield is good, but not the best. They prioritise the two boxes. Exactly. Obviously, the Liverpool midfield is also pretty darn impressive, right? They're a good team. Physically, they're very good. Technically, very good. But yeah, they kill you in the boxes. They got Van Dijk at the back and Alisson in goal and Konate, amazing. And then up top, they got Mo Salah moving into those positions, scoring goals for fun. Like, that's where you win your football matches. How many moments do you see that Salah just gives them? He can be quiet for 90 minutes or 80 minutes, and then he just pops up, scores a goal, maybe even two, done and dusted. Football match won, happy days on to the next one, and it sees them top of the league right now. And like I said, when you combine that with the fact that defensively they're so good, they've got so many good players at the back, that's realistically how Liverpool are on this title charge. Again, we should acknowledge the fact they do still have quality in midfield. But if you look at the Liverpool midfield, you know, you're talking like a Gravenberch, McAllister, Curtis Jones, sometimes Szoboszlai, whoever it may be. Those four names, they're all good players. But are they players that you think get into, you know, the last 5, 6 Premier League winning sides? You know, are any of them of the level of the De Bruynes and the Rodris and the Bernardos of the past few seasons? Probably not. It is interesting. It does make you think. It does make you think. You could argue that none of our first team players are ready either. Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. In the argument of using the youth players, that is fair. Mazraoui left and De Ligt right centre back is what you'd go for. Yeah, so normally the point that I try and make is, I think if you do that, particularly when we had Dalot over here, let's take Dorgu out for a second and bring Ahmad in. My issue is I wanted us to defend in the back four, and naturally this shape can't do it, because either you get Ahmad at right back, which doesn't work, or you get Mazraoui centre back, De Ligt right back, which doesn't work. So I always made the argument, move them the other way around. Mazraoui can go to the right, Dalot drops into the left. We defend in the back four, allows us to get the extra player a little bit higher up the pitch. But with the personnel now, we don't really have that natural winger anyway, so I think we do have a bit more freedom with who we push down which side. Let's bring Dorgu back in real quick. Realistically, you could go like this and drop into the back four, and you could go for a 4-4-2 from this position, if Bruno's over here, for example. Or you could do it the other way around. Does Maguire want to squeeze out there? No, but you could now swap these guys. So it's a difficult one, really. I think the lineup suggests we're probably largely going to defend in a back five. Although I'm hoping, a bit like what we saw in moments last week, we can squeeze to the 4-4-2. We've got to do it more regularly. I spoke a lot last week about just the tactical confusion. Real confusion in particular between Mazraoui and Dalot, who was meant to go when. But when we did actually get ourselves into a sort of 4-4-2, it was even a diamond at times, weren't it? I did think we looked much more solid, much more capable of winning the ball high. Need to try and do it more. Can this 11 do that? Well, you've got physical presences at the back that can deal with balls. You've got wide defenders. You've got intensity in here. Casemiro maybe struggles a little bit, but I'm not sure. Not sure. You know, that sort of shape works for me. Defend in that shape. Casemiro a little bit deeper, get Ugarte buzzing about the pitch a bit more. Possibly. And then when we attack, we get ourselves back into that back three. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? AJ, I've been following United since Ruben Amorim came in. Even that's from the Fergie era. Ruben Amorim is the same as he was. He won't change the system. 3-4-3. Ruben Amorim and I never thought that the squad had low IQ. I do think a lot is made of 3-4-3. And Amorim was speaking about this the other day. I don't think the shape is so important, right? It's the behaviours within the shape. And that's probably what's lacking at the moment. Combination of just the wrong profiles, right? Just having footballers that aren't the most intelligent across this 11, right? That aren't the most tactically versatile. Lose their 1v1s, not the most technical. So that's some of the issue. But also the lack of training time. If we're looking at a manager wanting certain behaviours within this 3-4-3, certain behaviours, certain movements, certain patterns, certain understandings, United haven't had the training time to build that yet under Ruben Amorim, which is why, like you said, you're exactly right. It's not a 2 to 3 month process. Did I expect more progress by now? Yeah, but it was never going to be sorted by now. We were never going to be, cool by now. It was always going to take time. Like you said, at Sporting, it took a couple of years to get there. It's just going to take time. Hopefully, like I've said a couple of times, United have only played once in the last 13 days. So hopefully we've had a bit more training time. Players have a slightly better understanding, so therefore we see a slight improvement. But like I said, it's still not going to be perfect. It's going to take time. Let's just hope we get there. Amorim says the players' behaviour and attitude on the pitch is important. Yeah, so I think attitude is a lot about, working hard, intensity, being switched on, things like that, how you react to adversity. I think in terms of behaviour, I think that is more to do with picking up the movements, the understandings. Amorim is a manager who doesn't necessarily give a lot of freedom to his players. What he does is he gives them set patterns of play that you go through. So set moments, the ball is here, that means you guys should be doing this. That's not easy for a player to pick up in 3 days. It's not easy to do. So, again, that's why it's taken time. I wonder how much training time Moyes had. I think what you got to look at, there's a lot of comparison between Moyes and Amorim. First of all, Moyes has had more training time because I know recently United have played less, but United were playing every 3 days when Everton weren't, because we had the Europa League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup. United playing every 3 days, Everton weren't. So actually, Moyes has had more training time game to game. But also, you've got to look at how a squad has been built over the years. Is this Manchester United squad better than the Everton squad? Yes. But actually, if you look at it profile, player for player, there's that Everton squad has a nicer foundation level to me than what the United one does. There's not many Everton players you look at there and you go, they've got an unbelievably glaringly obvious weakness that you've got to try and cover for. Whereas the United players, you look at it and I think there obviously is. So I think there is that difference as well. Everton, they don't have a better squad. Please don't take this message the wrong way. But they have a squad which is a bit easier to move into different ideas because they have less obvious weaknesses. I genuinely do believe that. Again, the United squad is better, but actually, overall as a collective, the Everton one is almost easier to work with. Although Amorim, again, will say this, has to do so much more. So much more. Physical fitness is imperative. Players who put on full pressure with high IQ so they don't run so much. And yes, there is a lack of players for the system. Notice the 3 signings were lefties. Yeah, exactly. Again, it's that time thing. Even the fitness things will take time, particularly, ideally, a pre-season to help us, but we'll see. You know, I saw a comment about Dallo and Mazraoui, which I just quickly want to read, but I've lost the message. Where's it gone? Where's it gone? Where's it gone? Where's it gone? I can't find it. I've completely lost the message I want to... there you go. Aren't you worried about Mazraoui and Dallo? Their communication is poor. They couldn't handle Son last week. Yeah, I am worried about it. I am worried about it because what Everton will likely do in possession, right, is they obviously start as a back 4, but Mikalenko goes a little bit higher because O'Brien plays right back, but is more of a centre back. So they sort of tuck into that back 3. And then Harrison, previously Njai, comes inside. Now, it's a fairly simple rotation. You've kept the fullback deep, you've pushed the other one up, and you let the winger go inside. But this is what United have really been struggling with. You made the point about Son last week, causing so many problems. And again, that was a huge issue for me. These two didn't seem to understand things at all. At all. There was very little tactical understanding from these two last week. And, you know, Spurs are a good rotational side. They cause problems for a lot of teams. But these two really, really struggled. There were moments where, you know, there's 2 players on this side for them to pick up. And there's almost sort of moments where they're actually both marking the same player whilst someone else is free. And then in another moment, they're not really marking either of them. And then again, they're too tight to both of them. And then one of them's tight, but one of them's a few yards off. It was a bit messy last week. It was a bit messy. Then Amorim needs to profile his players better. I agree. I think he does. I think he has misprofiled certain players. Other players, I think he's done a good job. Yeah, I do agree. Højlund should be benched as he doesn't offer too much. The problem again at the moment is that we don't have too many options. You know, Garnacho is realistically the one who could come in for Højlund. But again, perhaps Amorim's got something in mind specifically for this game. Not sure. Not sure. Anyway, what I do quickly want to do is just go look at his beautiful face. Just because why not? Chad, a bit weird, mate. I want to hear your score predictions for this football match. Yesterday, I went for a 2-1 win, which is that typical scoreline prediction of, I want to say my team's going to win because I don't want to predict them to lose, but I'm not convinced we're going to win, and I'm not sure how we're going to win, so I'm going to say 2-1. That's basically what I've gone for. My goal scorers yesterday, what did I say? I remember. Yeah, those of you that weren't here yesterday, be prepared to have your minds blown, because I'm about to say something outrageous. Decore is going to score for Everton. I don't know about the order of the goals, but I think Decore is going to score for Everton. Do you know who's scoring for Manchester United? Højlund, Xerxes. 2 strikers at Manchester United scoring a goal each. I told you. Prepare to be surprised. What you guys got in the chat? We got 6-1 loss from Chad, 2-1 Everton from Bob the Bob, 3-2 United. I like it. Man United 1-0 win. Yes. 2-1 United, 2-0, 2-2 draw. 1-0 with a goal from Everton. What? Beto for Everton, I meant to say. 4-1 today. Is that to us? Also, by the way, guys, if you are a member on the channel to do your predictions, you can use the emojis in the chat, which is pretty cool. You can actually pick the players. We would win the league if United matches actually went according to my predictions. I don't think I've predicted a loss all season, and I refuse to predict a loss. It's delusional. I'm very aware of that, but it feels wrong to go, I think we're going to lose 2-1. Like, I can't bring myself to say it. I might go for a couple of draws in a season, actually, when we play the big teams. But apart from that, I predict a win pretty much every week. Even though in the back of my mind, Do I really believe it? Maybe not. Hoyland and Xerxes to score? Exactly. I told you it was rogue. I told you it was a rogue prediction, my friend. David with the super chat. And David, notice how I actually noticed this time. Look at me growing, evolving. David, thank you very much for the super chat, guys. You know what to do. Like Callum, get that chat green. I want to see love hearts. I want to see stars. What else we got? We got W's, the flames. Oh, I think the stars are gone. That's a bit awkward. Bit awkward. David said 3-1 to Manchester United with goals from Bruno Fernandes, Hoyland and Maguire. Chad also said a Maguire goal as well. And so has Callum. I'm seeing several people saying a Maguire goal, which means it's pretty much happening. It's pretty much happening. David, thank you very much. As always, my friend, as always. Still 3-1 United, but 2 goals from Xerxes and a goal from Maguire. So that's a striker brace. We love it. Hoyland brace, and then how Hoyland turned it around video next week. We'll be there no matter what. I believe we'll win every game. Yeah, I don't actually believe it, but I feel like I have to manifest it. I have to say United are going to win this week. I've got to. I can't say we're going to lose. Casemiro header. I think we've got a set piece threat. I think there's a set piece threat there. You think, right? Everton defending a corner. We're going to send De Ligt up. We're going to send Maguire up. Casemiro. Hoyland. Xerxes. Let's put Dallo up there as well. I wouldn't want to be defending against that bunch. Now, on the flip side of it, by the way, Everton are also physical. Beto, Decore, O'Brien, Tarkowski, Branthwaite, physically all very good. So it's still not going to be easy, but I do think we've got a bit of a set piece threat there. And I think that's something that we will need to look for in this game. That might be what sort of gets us started. We don't score enough of those goals. You see big teams so often, they end up winning 3-0, but if you actually watch the match, they're actually finding it tough for 40 minutes. Then they get a goal from a set piece, and it just forces the other team onto them a little bit more. Then it opens up and they score 2 or 3. United need that. Those first goals don't have to be perfect. Just find a way of scoring it. It can be a deflection. It can be a worldie from somewhere. It can be a set piece. It can be a mistake from the opposition. Whatever. United need to try and find a way of getting that first goal more regularly and preferably a little bit earlier in the game, sort of to take the pressure off. Being away probably takes the pressure off anyway naturally. But we need to try and do that more. Seeing Ugarte and Casemiro in midfield has stopped me betting Everton to win. Faith in the midfield. I like it. Casemiro header. Hat-trick from who? Sorry. I think second half we should bring Garnacho on as a right wing-back. I like it. Dorgu first goal with an assist from Bruno. Yes, please. Hoyland might just get more of that long-awaited service. Just a wish. Hopefully. Same reason I can't bet against my team, even though I know deep down we're going to lose. It doesn't make sense. Exactly. This is about to be the most boring game of football in human history. Oh, there's some real contenders for that, though. I have seen McTominay, Bruno, Eriksson, and literally everybody receive the ball in the box, but somehow Hoyland is nowhere to be found. Everton is physically fitter, potentially so. Everton will dominate. Again, I'm interested to see how aggressive they are. Are they really going to come after us, high press, or not? Maguire, man of the match incoming. Beto will be crying after the final whistle. We low-key kind of need that. Everton go long regularly. And they go long centrally regularly. Which is why yesterday I was talking about wanting Maguire. I think we need him for this game. Needs to have a good game. But also, obviously, not just him. These two in here on the second ball. Get around Decore. Decore is good. When that second ball's dropping in here, we need to be the first one on it. It's all well and good winning that first contact, but it's pointless if you don't get the second. You've got to be on that ball. I think it's important. Beto to score an assist. Place your bets, please. This is not financial advice. Bruno Fernandes worldie every game for the rest of the season. Those are the predictions I don't want to see, mate. That's so irrational. What's irrational? I can't remember what I said. I think the chat is slightly behind what I'm saying as well. Anyway. Let's not look at this today. Actually, let's. We need to go above Everton. We can't stay below Everton. It can't happen. It can't happen. So we need to win today. Apart from that, though, I think we've covered everything. Obviously, yesterday we done a lot of talk about tactically how this was going to go. That was only yesterday, less than 24 hours. We're streaming again today, so there isn't much more to talk about in terms of the team news itself. It was always going to be fairly predictable because we're quite limited with options, so we knew to an extent what the 11 was going to be. So, yeah, I think we have covered everything that we need to cover for today. So, yeah, we're going to wrap the stream up there. Thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. I will be uploading my breakdown of this game, hopefully today. Kickoff's obviously in about 25 minutes. I need to watch the game. I then need to watch the game again, record it, edit it, upload it. But at 7 or like at 6:45, I've got to go out for a charity event. So it's going to be a squeeze getting that video out in time. I'll try my best though. I'll try to get that video out for you guys today. But I would rather take the time and get the quality and the analysis rather than rushing it. But I will try and do it today. I'll try. We got a good luck from Ricardo. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate that. Yeah. Guys, thank you very much for the stream. Hope you have enjoyed it. Thank you to everyone who was just sat there quietly watching. Everyone who liked. You guys are legends. Thank you for the gifted memberships, the super chats, the renewal of memberships, the new memberships, whatever, all of that. Anyone that joined the Discord server, legendary behavior. If you subscribe to the channel, I love you. And if you turned notifications on, damn, you really are a legend. Is that everything? Is that everything? I think that's everything. I think we're good. Are we? Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you, hopefully, in a video later today. But I'm not going to rush it. I want quality on it. But I reckon we can do it today. Thanks for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. Ali, no way you've just joined as we're closing the stream. Ali, I was literally about to press close the stream. I hope you're well, my friend. How are you? How you been? I'm not closing the stream just yet. Not with Ali joining. Is he still here? Please, Ali. Are you still here? I sat here loudly watching. Steve, you're just that sort of guy, man. I knew you'd sit there loudly watching it. It's 4 a.m. On my days, why are you watching Manchester United at 4 a.m? That is not what you need. That is not what you need. Watching United at 4 a.m, that cannot be good for your mental health, my friend. That just can't be good for you. That cannot be good for you. Anyway, it's lovely to see you, mate. Hope you're well. I do now actually need to leave because I've got some stuff that I've got to go sort. But hopefully Ali is our good luck charm for today. It's good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. Probably drop you a message a little bit later on. Yeah, I do actually need to wrap up the stream now and go leave. So, Ali, I'm very sorry about the time of this. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you have enjoyed the stream. And yeah, I will see you guys. I was literally one click away, by the way, before Ali joined. What a legend. Good to see you, mate. Yeah, I will see you guys hopefully later today. Hopefully, United go get us 3 points and a positive performance. And for once, the fan base isn't in meltdown. That'd be lovely.